This is Mayah Rose.
This is Gerald Rogers.
And today we're talking about unapologetic expression in relationships, how to show up as the most unapologetically expressed version of yourself, and how to allow your partner to do the same.
So, building up to this point, we've created these other videos that have talked about these other gateways of power that we have in what's called the legendary code. The one leading up to this was that around the heart chakra, which is unconditional love. And unconditional love is the gateway for unapologetic expression. But it requires us to do things differently in terms of how we show up for ourselves and how we show up in partnership.
Unconditional love is what allows us to feel like we can take off the mask and show up as the fullest version of us. So let me ask you this. When it comes to relationships, I want you to be 100% honest with yourself. Have you felt in the past like you needed to hide things from your partner in order to be loved? Did you ever think, well, if they only knew this about me, then they wouldn't love me? Or if only I took off the mask, then they're going to run away, love's going to go away. And we talked about this in unconditional love, but what that does is when you feel like you have to hide a part of yourself in order to be loved, then you can't be fully expressed. Being fully expressed means that you step into that version of you who is unafraid to share all parts of you and everything about you with your partner and create that intimacy.
Because most of us were trained in conditional love when we were young. We were taught that in order for us to earn love, there were certain things we needed to do. We also unconsciously took on the belief that in order to gain love, there were only certain parts of us that was safe to share, and other parts of us it wasn't safe to share. And oftentimes, like in my case, I felt like I put on this mask. And this mask was the mask of someone that was always trying to be the good boy, that had it all figured out. Now, carrying that into relationship, I continued to carry that mask, and there were so many times where I was just afraid. I was afraid of being vulnerable and sharing what I was struggling with. I was afraid of being vulnerable and sharing my fantasies and desires. I was afraid of revealing these parts of me because I thought if I really shared these parts, then love would go away and I would be rejected or unloved. And so it created this very limited experience where even when I was receiving love, I couldn't receive it. Does that make sense? Even when some other people were giving me love, unconsciously I would always have this thought, well, if you really knew me, if you knew what was behind this mask, then there's no way you would actually love me because I didn't love myself. And therefore the only thing I could express was this mask, and I would show up as someone who I didn't really feel like was authentic to me.
And oftentimes what happens is when we're younger, we take on these faulty programs, these faulty belief systems that cause us to be something we're not. So for example, for me, I took on this faulty belief system that if I shared what I was thinking, that I would be punished if the other person didn't agree with it. So based on the stories that I took on when I was growing up. So how that translated into my former relationships or partnerships was I got really good at knowing what the other person wanted to hear or what the other person wanted me to do. And so that's how I showed up. Instead of saying what I really thought or really wanted, I said what I knew my partner wanted me to say. Instead of doing what I really wanted, I ended up doing what I thought he wanted me to do. And then I lost myself. It's like I became this chameleon, and whatever my partner liked, I would like. And then I didn't really know who I was or what I liked. And it was so interesting because when Gerald and I first got into relationship with each other, he would ask me questions like, what do you think? What do you like? What do you want? And I give him an answer that I thought he'd want to hear. And I think he could tell that wasn't my true answer. He's like, no, really, I want to know, what do you think about this? Or what do you like? And I really had to search and think, what does that expression of me think about this? What is the unapologetic expression of me wanting? What does the unapologetic expression of me desire or like? And I really had to go inward and find myself. So maybe you can relate to this in a partnership, but where have you taken on a faulty belief system or something that tells you you have to shut down a certain part of you in order to be loved?
Yeah, and I think this is really useful, especially for any of us who are recovering people pleasers. Any recovering people pleasers here? This is like really important to recognize that when we are in the in the conditioning of self-sacrifice, believing that we need to sacrifice parts of us in order for the other person to be happy. What we unconsciously don't realize is that when we give away parts of ourselves, then we have less of us to give to our partner. And it's actually not what serves them. And then oftentimes you get to the point, like so many people do, where you're like, don't even know who you are, what you want, or what your authentic opinion actually is. And so reclaiming this space of unapologetic expression is, first of all, it first requires you to go inside and make peace with these parts of you that are what we call the shadow. Make peace with you, the parts of you that are unlovable. And when you can bring love to those parts and you can be okay with you in a deep internal way, then all of a sudden it becomes safe for you to bring other people into that world. And one of the things that I experienced when I started dating Mayah Rose was it felt like the first time in my life I could be all of me. You know, I didn't feel like I needed to shut down or hide or filter parts of me in order for her to be safe. In fact, being in a relationship with her allowed me to be more of me. Does that make sense? Like, it allowed me to show up and to have my weaknesses, my vulnerabilities, and things I'm afraid of, and to let her see the messy parts of me. But then also to have full space for the big parts of me, the crazy parts, the fun, like the outgoing, the outrageous, the flirty parts of me. And Mayah Rose, because she had done the work on herself and because I had done the work on myself in terms of accessing this unconditional love, we just gave each other space to be who we were in all dimensions.
And this really is what intimacy is. It's when you are allowing someone to see all of you. Now, disclaimer here. When you do that, you will be too much for some people. Let me say that again. So for those of you that are afraid, if I show off myself, I'm going to be rejected or I'm going to be too much. I'm telling you right now, you will be. You will be rejected by some people and you will be too much for some people. But here's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, you will never be enough for some people and you will definitely be too much for other people. But for the right people, you're going to be just perfect for them, right? And this is what's beautiful is like when you can land, your unapologetic expression sends out like this really clear, what we call your soul frequency, your unique vibration on the planet. And when you are clear on who you are, it will naturally repel those that don't belong in your life. Kind of like a magnet. It'll just push those people away. And simultaneously, it will draw in the people that are matched for that soul frequency. The challenge is when we're sending out a false frequency, when we're trying to project to the world that we're something that we're not, when we're hiding and diminishing parts of us, or we're like, projecting this this false image on Facebook or Instagram or wherever it might be, then all of a sudden the people that are attracted into our life aren't the ones that authentically are our people, right? But when we're true to who we are, then all of a sudden you become a magnet for all the right people. When the right people land, it feels so good because those are the ones that inspire you and ignite you to be even more of you.
And every time you're too much for somebody or they say, it's just not the right fit, instead of feeling rejection, feel celebration. Yes, that's making space for someone who can accept all of you. That's making space for someone who can see all of you and hold space for all of you. And you want to make that room for that person in your life. You want to make room for the person who you can truly let see you and allow yourself to be seen by. So remember, unapologetic expression is being able to show up as all of you unapologetically in your expression. Now, here's a couple things. If you're not in partnership or if you're in partnership, answer these questions. Now, if you're in a partnership, talk about it with your partner, because sometimes if we've been in partnership, we get so used to hiding and we forget to share these things. So the first question is, what is a desire that you have in your life right now? And this is really good if you're not in a relationship and you've used to be in a codependent or a people-pleasing relationship. What do you want and desire? Not what does your partner want or desire. What is it that you want and desire? The second question is, what is a fantasy you have? Now, this is really fun to talk about in partnership in a safe space, just allowing for your partner to share and express what's a fantasy you have. What's something that you really love to do? And what's something that you don't like to do? Answer those questions and share them with your partner. And what is a dream that you have? What is something, a big goal or a vision or a dream? And then finally, what is something, we've talked about this before, what is something you want your partner to know about you? And what is one thing you're afraid or feel like you're having to hide from your partner? Now, it's really important you do this in a safe space, but this is a great way and a first step for creating unapologetic expression within yourself and your partnership.
What you'll find is the more you begin to reveal these parts of you, it's like the more you're able to experience what true intimacy really is. And you're able to feel what that feels like to be seen, to be validated, to be understood by those that matter the most. So this is an invitation to show up as all of you, to unapologetically express yourself, your mess and your light, and just know that the more you do that, that is the greatest medicine that you can offer to the planet, is the true frequency of you.
And just remember, this is your life, so
make it legendary.